Okay, quite a lot has happened in the last couple of days. I've got a lot to update you about. One of the most exciting things that happened was last night, just as we were sailing in the open waters approaching the Falklands, we got a call out on the radios that said, "We think we've spotted some whales." So I went up to the bridge, and sure enough, after a while, I started to see the plumes of water coming out, the whale blows. And what actually was there were around the boat, there were six fin whales. Now, six fin whales, this is such a great sight. Tom was telling me that normally you might see one or two off in the distance, but six around the boat is almost unheard of, very rare, and quite an amazing sight. Fin whales can grow up to 25 metres long. They're actually the second largest whale, behind the blue whale, of course. And at one point, one of them actually came so close to the ship that I could look over the edge and see the full body laid out underneath the water there. It was gigantic, and it's got this huge white stripe down one side of its body, and it actually swims side on and eats the fish and the plankton that it's going after side on like that, with this large white stripe down one side. That's how you can identify them. So that was a bit of excitement for last night. And then today, things just got even more exciting. Today was our first landing. We landed in the morning on West Point Island in the Falklands. And on West Point Island, we were met by locals with their Land Rovers, and they took us across the island to a nesting colony. And in this nesting colony, there were albatrosses with chicks that were only 3 to 4 weeks old, very fluffy and grey, very cute chicks. But also, in amongst all these majestic albatrosses, we had the first penguins that I've encountered in the wild. We had rockhopper penguins nesting in there with their chicks, and the chicks were probably about the same kind of age. It was such a beautiful sight, and we could go right down and walk almost in amongst them. We didn't want to disturb them, we stood back, but we were so close to them. If I wanted to, I could have reached out and actually touched these amazing birds. That was fantastic. And later on, we had a second landing, again on the Falkland Islands, but on a separate part of the Falkland Islands, on an island called Saunders Island. And on Saunders Island, just as you land on the beach, there is a huge Gentoo penguin colony. So that was my first experience of these species of penguins, and that was the first place where we went to look at one of the Penguin Watch cameras. So the first thing me and Tom did when we got up there was went up to the Penguin Watch camera that overlooks the colony, took the old one, which was a bit battered and bruised. It looks like a striated caracara, one of the predatory birds around there, that's also very wily, very smart, and tries to get into everything. Had a go at the camera and actually had a real good go opening it up. We took that old camera, removed it, and replaced it with a brand new camera for the new season. So we'll take that old camera away, get the images off the SD card, and they will go on to Penguin Watch, and you'll get to see and help classify some of the images from Saunders Island on Penguin Watch. Now, there was a bit of a sad moment while we were on Saunders Island. The locals who met us there are 4 locals who live on the island. They actually told us as we landed that they'd seen quite a few penguin carcasses, quite a few more than normal. And when me and Tom had a look around, we did see that there were quite a few chick carcasses around. Tom reckoned they were probably about 3 weeks old. It seemed like there was maybe more than normal. So this is something we're going to have a look at. What we did was we went back to the boat and we grabbed some sample cases, and we took about 20 stool samples, and we also took a swab of a carcass. And when we get into Stanley tomorrow, the capital of the Falkland Islands, we're going to send those samples back to the UK, back to Oxford, and have a look and see if we can figure out what's going on with that colony there, if there's anything we should really be worried about. The good news is that the chicks that were grown up and the adults that were there did look in good health, but there is this worry that there might be something that has been affecting them in the past, or is possibly a threat in the future. So that was the most of the last 2 days. Some really exciting stuff. I've now seen my first penguins in the wild. I'm so happy, and to see also just to see the albatrosses so close with their 2.2 meter wingspan flying right in front of you was quite amazing. Tomorrow we head into, as I said, Stanley, the capital of the Falkland Islands, and that's more of a day in the town. We won't be getting to any cameras tomorrow. But after that, we're making our way out to South Georgia, where we're going to see a lot more of the Penguin Watch cameras, a lot more of the colonies, and a lot more wildlife in general.